So, NJ, I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but there is a new movie that's come out called "What Is a Woman" by Matt Walsh. Given today's climate and how you want to structure this podcast, would you like to continue with this topic?
I feel like this is an ambush. You ever get you ever get those questions? Or like you ever seen those scenes in a movie where like, oh, so Mr. President, did you have sexual relations with that woman? And that's the weight of that question right now.
So, is
I
that
don't
a no?
know. I mean,
Is that a no?
I'd be down for it. I'm down for anything pretty much.
My answer is no. I was just curious what you were going to say.
Oh, your answer's no. And it's a big fat fucking no.
And with that, welcome.
Hello,
We
hello.
are Boys on the
The end.
Edge. Episode what?
Episode 7.
7. Lucky number 7.
Is it 7? Maybe it's 7.
I hope so. I think so.
Hopefully it's 7.
I have a document called episode 6 timestamps, and this is how long we've not been recording. We're not even sure how many have been
Yeah,
released.
it's been over 2 months, maybe a month and a half.
If episode 5 was the last one, consider this one so great that we had to skip 6 and just call it 7.
Call it 7. Yeah, sometimes episodes are just so good that we don't even release them. That's what happens.
It could be more than 7.
Yeah, a lot has happened, man. A lot has happened. You know, a guy went bald. It's AIDS.
I think people who have been following us for a while know that you've had spells of baldness, followed by spells of very luscious hair. So
No, I don't think so. I don't think they've seen me bald ever.
really,
I think they've seen me with hair.
Hmm.
I think they've seen me with hair. I think the people that are watching us have seen me with just luscious, pullable hair. Speaking of pullable, oh my God, today was an interesting day, Brian.
Yeah.
Today, I'd like to think that I've seen it all, and I'd like to think that these things usually just happen in the movies. But man, some guy today was just walking around naked at the office.
Not in the office, around the
Not in the office, outside the office. Outside
right.
the office.
And it wasn't you, right?
It wasn't me. Okay, so
just making sure we have that clear.
So this is hilarious and really sad at the same time. So prepare yourself.
Are you going to share a video?
I'm going to share a video.
I don't think you can. Like, you got to blur it out.
I'll blur it out, man. I'll blur it out.
Like nobody gets to see. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. This right here is on a Sunday. I'm going to mute it because I was yelling some pretty wild things. But look at that. Some random dude just free ball. He's got his shoes on. Those are some nice shoes though.
Bro, you should submit this to the news.
Submit it to the news. Who's gonna take this? Oh,
You don't know how to spin it.
How are they gonna spin it? What
That's up for them to decide.
What spin can one have on something like this? You know what the sad part is? This was someone's like brother
or son. Well, it definitely somebody's son.
Like legitimately, there were people looking around for this person.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to. Here's the worst part. I didn't want to go out and tell them that I called the cops on this person because.
Did they find him? Because the cops did show up, right?
The cops did show up, but I didn't want to be the person that said, "Oh, I called the cops on your son." Because is that horrible?
No, I think
I'm having a moral dilemma right now.
It sounds like you actually evaluated everything post decision, right?
Well, it was post decision. It was an hour of me looking through the windows, trying to figure out what this person was doing, and then deciding, oh, I think this person is trying to break into the different offices. So I better call someone. I better call the cops. Mm-hmm. Then we called the cops. Me and my coworker called the cops, And response time, by the way, Orange County Police Department. Response time was kind of 15 minutes. 15 minutes before responding. So that was a poor response time. But yeah, we called the cops and I think they got him. And then about 20 minutes later, I saw some car park in the middle of the parking lot, and then some old lady in a walk. It's just the saddest thing. This story is just so sad because there was an old lady.
I didn't know. I didn't know you'd seen all of this. Actually,
yeah, there's an old lady with a
I'm just following
walker,
along.
and then some dude with a dog, and then the dog's trying to sniff around, and I'm like, oh man, that was someone's relative. And then I went down, and then before I opened the door, I said, probably not a good idea to be a good Samaritan today. Moral dilemma? What do you think, Brian? What do you think?
I don't know. Your expectation of the police helping him meant that or the police coming maybe was, like, oh, they can help him, or like they'll just like take him away or something.
Something I was worried. I was worried that this person was gonna do something.
You said you thought he might break into the offices, probably.
Well,
that he would try.
He was trying to open the office doors.
Oh shit!
He was trying to open the office doors, and he had a little bin that he was carrying around. It was an interesting day. A lot of moral dilemmas, but not as sad as the Queen dying. That's for sure.
That's true. There is no greater tragedy than this 96-year-old monarch.
That's like 3 9/11s, dude.
You're saying her death is the same sorrow as 3 9/11s?
Yeah, I mean, she might as well be. But she met like 10, 15 presidents?
But she didn't die tragically.
How do you know?
I think she was just old. They were saying she was near the end, right?
I love how everyone's like, "Oh, the Queen's still alive? Oh." And then she dies, and everyone goes, "Oh, okay, she's just old."
I saw a girl on Instagram talk about like all the weather catastrophes that have been happening in California recently, like the fires and like the hurricane that hit San Diego. I don't know how badly, by the way. I don't know how badly. I'm just like talking about stuff that I've heard recently.
She didn't talk about the Queen.
No, she said the Earth is literally crying for Queen Elizabeth.
It's just September. I'm sorry, but it's just September.
Just a normal, guys, calm down. It's just a normal California September. It always looks like we're either going to burn down or, be the first site of a flood in the United States, right? Besides Hurricane Katrina.
The Earth is not.
California's finally going to get their hurricane, but that's.
Dude, I love. Right? I love how there's people listening to this right now not knowing what Katrina is.
Who's that? Who?
That's 2008, man.
Okay, so how many? I don't know. 2008.
2008.
14 years ago.
14 years ago. What do you remember from 14 years ago besides Hurricane Katrina?
Is your point that like I wouldn't be able to tell details about it? I remember seeing it on the news. So let me answer your question. I'm not going, why are you talking about this, Brian? You weren't there. Are you quizzing me? Is this what it is?
No, I'm not quizzing you about anything. I'm just saying,
I'm just saying the people who are going to hear about this probably heard about Katrina too, or like know about it.
The only thing I remember about Hurricane Katrina are the videos of people on top of their homes. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Why are we talking about Katrina again? Can we?
Oh, hurricanes. That's it. Hurricanes.
We were talking about the Queen because this girl said that the Earth was crying.
The Earth was crying for Queen Elizabeth. That's so crazy how people do that.
Thank you for following our train of thought for the last probably 3 minutes. I don't know how long we were just talking there. Let's see the Queen dying. What about it, AJ? Why is it so sad? Why do you think people think it's so sad?
Okay, it's not. I don't know if I wasn't saddened by it.
Me neither.
Right, I was like, "Oh, the Queen died. That's unfortunate."
Like, okay, yeah, somebody dying. Like, okay, it feels like a celebrity died. Because we live here, and she's not like an actual queen. She's not like creating the laws and dictating the land and shit. She's just a queen.
There's levels of celebrity.
Yeah,
there's levels. So, of
celebrity. We were not affected. Maybe, like as far as we can tell. Who knows what kind of effects this will have through future through
Well,
the future.
does
And then we look back and think, oh, this is all started with the queen died, right?
what
What if
could
this could
possibly
be the
make
nexus
you
point?
think this could be a Nexus event? you trace all the sorrows that happen from 30 years from now, and it's all because of the queen's passing. What power, what political power does the queen have?
None, right?
I don't think so.
She's just celebrity influence. I'm
I
pretty
think it's
sure.
just symbolic. You know what? I think
Yeah.
it's just symbolic. Like, I
She
don't think.
has like she has the guards, she has the palace, she has the royal family and all the corgis, obviously. But I don't know really. I'm not 100% sure, I guess. But I
Yeah.
will definitely bet money on thinking she's just a celebrity influence across the UK. I don't know, maybe in the like how much in the past maybe she had influence. Obviously in like, the grander scheme of world history, obviously. But I don't know, let's say the last 100 years. Because she basically died at 100.
Yeah. Was it 96, right? Damn.
Mhm.
How do you get that old? Like, what's the fucking secret?
Who knows? Remember the do you remember this joke? I think it was the 2012 Olympics. England, right?
Uh-huh.
The
I think
Queen was like watching all the nations marching, and she used to think, "Wow, we used to own all that shit."
do you ever do you ever wonder if ever she thought about we need to take this shit back? There's gotta be there's gotta be, there's gotta be
Across
that
across
level.
the royal bloodline, there has always been one like descendant family member who wanted to bring back the monarchy, and he would pass down that like that hatred, that
I
what's the word that I don't know, that vengeance, whatever, that moral standing. He would pass it down to one person at a time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just wondering, like, when did that end? Like, when did they stop trying to bring it
When
back?
did they just lose everything except the money?
Yeah, that's true. They did. They lost all political power, right? They don't really run anything in government besides what okay, someone
This is a good mental exercise. Maybe there's somebody out there
I know somebody
who
out
knows
there
their world
comment,
history better than we do, obviously.
let us know. Yeah, because I don't think there's any political power on the
Not
monarch.
in the UK, right? We're just talking about
Not in the UK. Yeah, yeah. Not in the I mean in like some parts of the world there's still kings, you know.
Mhm. Like
Yeah, but
Wakanda,
where?
like Wakanda,
Did you say Wakanda or Rwanda? Time out. What did you say? I didn't hear you. Did you say
Wakanda.
Wakanda or
I did
Rwanda?
say Wakanda. I did say Wakanda.
You said Wakanda.
Mhm.
For half a second, I thought you said Rwanda, and I said I don't think Rwanda has a king. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't think he said Rwanda. I think he said Wakanda. I think he said Wakanda. And then I was like, does Wakanda have a king? And for a good 5 seconds, I was thinking about this imaginary country and about whether or not they had a king. And just
They
goes
do. It's T'Challa. It's the Black Panther.
who?
The Black Panther.
Oh, T'Challa. T'Challa.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
catch.
whoever's the I guess his mom right now in the movie series.
Oh, I
Sorry for
can't.
anybody who spoiled anybody who doesn't know that Chadwick Boseman died 2 years ago.
Is that is that considered a spoiler alert? If
I
you
think
say
I
something,
think it has to be 10 years, unfortunately.
seriously, okay. So if I said someone like an actor died,
I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole into explaining like when spoilers become spoilers. Let's just go back to the news.
okay, let's just go back to the news. I mean, so yeah, I'm wondering. Let's go back to my train of thought. I'm wondering when did they stop trying? Like when did the queen say, or the monarchy say, we should probably not try to.
We've lost everything up to this. They probably had like a couple countries left. Just take that. Like it's too much work, Handle their GDP, handle their abortion issues, like whatever they want to do. Just like we're done. We're just the monarchs now.
They're just mega celebrities, is what they are. They're literally mega celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Was it $33 billion that Prince Charles inherited?
That's the first time hearing about it.
I think so. I think it was like $30 billion.
Wow.
Because of that. That's insane. That's insane. So that's one thing that happened. The
Yeah.
queen died. That was like what, 2 days ago, and then
And I keep thinking back to the guy at the office.
oh,
He's
what's
like the
funny
memory is
about that
just
guy?
the memory is just playing back in my head. And you know
You
what?
know,
I thought about he's probably homeless, right?
no, I don't think he's homeless. I don't think he had too nice of a pair of shoes to be homeless. His shoes were too nice. He was too well kept. Let me tell you that he was too well kept.
Can I ask you a grander scheme type of question?
Uh-huh.
Um, at what point do we start listening to someone's complaints?
To someone's
Complaints?
you and me.
No, us as humans, like living in the human world. At what point do we start to really like listen to someone's complaints?
How did we go from some
It's
dude?
like no, this is my train of thought, and I haven't
Okay.
actually.
All right. I'm gonna entertain it. I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably when people started complaining. I feel like the moment someone started complaining, they're like, I don't like that negative reaction that you have. I think so. I think that would be my theory. What do you think?
That's not like a specific, and like what year, let's say, or like at what point in history did we start?
Year one. I don't.
Right. So
Uh,
I ask because, and I also think about the guy in your early story, because I heard that in Portland, excuse me, there is a group of disabled people suing the city because they are in violation of ADA requirements.
mhm,
The ramps and access to different facilities, whatnot, for disabled people or differently able people, however you want to say it.
mhm.
And their specific complaint is that they can no longer get around on the sidewalks because there are so many homeless tents. And so this is why I ask, because we as, I guess, able people, we can complain about homeless people because they're more so a visible, okay, for us, more visibly, like they're there. It's a, I don't want to call it a disturbance, but it's something that is an issue in society, right? So we complain and we talk about it. I want to talk about why when we complain about it, it's different now that disabled people are complaining about it. Does that make sense?
Why is
Are we gonna listen a little bit harder to not only to disabled people but to the homeless issue that's happening? That's just my train of thought. We don't have to go very political with this, but that's where my question came from.
okay? I see what you're saying. So I think it's because when we complain about homeless people, it's not disenfranchised people complaining about another
For the
set.
most part, right? For the most part, because we know that there are business owners who actually do work, still operate in Skid Row or other places that are affected in bigger cities, and that's an issue they have, right? There's a lot of homeless people. It's bad for business. That's one type of complaint.
Yeah, but it's but that's business owner. It's not a guy in a wheelchair trying to go from one store to the next.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why people listen, because it's someone that, I guess, a disenfranchised group or a very small minority of people, right? That is complaining about it. That's why I feel like that's what we are as a society right now, at least, is if
Yeah,
a group complains and that group is like a minority group, right? In whatever sense.
disenfranchised,
Yeah.
systemically
Yeah,
biased against.
systemically underprivileged in not just a minority in racial sense, but minority in any sense,
Yeah,
right? We tend to, as a country, we tend to listen to that more, especially now. Especially now. I don't think it's 80 years ago, if someone, people who were in wheelchairs complained about that, like nobody would give two shits about people in wheelchairs.
yeah.
Just go around, just to wheel yourself around. That's what they would say, right? But now we listen more to a minority group, again, not racially minority, but a group of people that belong to a smaller group than we do to the majority.
And it's not to be, I guess, intentionally funny about this, but it's gotten to a point where maybe we would ask, is it easier, or was it easier to get that ramp installed for the person in the wheelchair so they can use the bathroom? Or was it easier for somebody to get their own identity related bathroom?
That's interesting. That's actually
That's where it's gone. That's where it's gone, right? That's where we look at it. Like there, these things that we have to change in society, both morally, I guess, within us, and in terms
Mhm.
of laws that we operate on,
Well,
essentially.
it's crazy though, because in California, it's illegal for a business to. I'm talking about people who are disabled. It's illegal for a business to say no to a person who is disabled
In what way?
in like hiring them or whatever. In the sense that, or
It's
even
you
in
can't
an
discriminate against someone
yeah, even
for
in
being
an
disabled,
interview or
even
rejecting
if it's
someone in an
just hiring them for a job, right?
yeah, hiring them for a job or rejecting them to even conduct an interview. Let's say your office, an office of yours, is on the second floor. It's illegal for a business owner to say no to someone who's disabled because they can't go up the stairs.
Mhm.
So you got to carry someone up the stairs, and it's just they have to
Or have
say
an elevator,
no, huh?
or have an elevator of some
Or have an elevator, but they have to be the ones to say no
kind. Mhm.
for it to be okay. So again, it's just we we make laws now based on disenfranchised people, right? On a small group of
You
people.
know, for the not all laws, just
Not all laws, but that used to not be the case,
mhm.
right? If you were if you
Before it
were
was just like, hey, don't kill.
yeah, because the purpose of the law back then, I mean, is for the general public, right? The general person, not a specific group of people. I'm not saying I agree
And
with that
well,
or
okay,
disagree with it.
that's not entirely true. There were laws, obviously, in the past that were based on race, based on sex, right? Like women couldn't join the army, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, yeah.
we're not obviously we're recognizing those examples, but
Okay,
now
yeah.
it's more specified, right?
It's more specified. Yeah. But I mean, women are half of the
Not on the
population.
same, but not on a sorry, not also not in the same way, not in a discriminatory way. And if you want to consider, we won't dive too deep into this.
Uh-huh.
Abortion laws, that's obviously very specific, but
But it's for women. It's specifically for women, right? But that's women are half of the country, right?
mhm.
When I'm talking about minority disenfranchised people, I'm talking about just some wild theoretical woman that doesn't have a leg and her eye twitches, right? There
Okay.
used to not be a law for very specific groups, right? Or
Okay,
small.
well, it doesn't say in the law that she has all those issues. It's just disabled.
Well, I mean, disabled people. I mean, how much of the population is disabled,
I don't know. I'd have to look
right?
that up.
I mean, how many people? Okay, how many disabled people do you see when you're walking down the street? Like on a daily basis, if you get to see 1,000 people, there's probably like 3 or 4 that are like, oh, it's on a wheelchair, and then there's one that you're like, Jesus
Mhm.
Christ.
But the real question there is everybody still deserves access, no matter who
Sure,
they
yeah.
are.
I'm not like for or
Yeah.
against it, but I'm talking about back then. We used to not give two shits about smaller groups of people in
Mhm.
terms of the law. Like we would not talk about in terms of the law. We wouldn't talk about anything in terms of that.
Yeah.
But now, you know,
Mhm.
a naked. So when we called the
All of this discussion, by the way, all of this discussion because homeless people started talking about, or sorry, disabled people started talking about homeless people that they're
yeah.
getting in their way. All of this
What do you
because
think about that? I mean,
what do I
that's
think about it? I think it is a symptom of something that was already happening in Portland. It's important now that I guess more people are visible, or sorry, this is more visible to people. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know Portland law front and back. I'm just here to say uh, I see that society now is listening a bit more, perhaps. Well, at least in terms of media coverage, because I don't know how far it's gone. It just started happening maybe a week or two ago, the actual
Mhm.
lawsuit. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe I'll give an update on here. Who knows?
So okay. So it seems like people listen to it more because people who are disabled started complaining. Why is that? Why is it more important now because just a certain group started complaining about it rather than it was before? Like, it's always been a problem, apparently. Like, it's been a very long problem, long-standing problem, and people have been talking about how they can't go to certain places, right? Businesses have essentially kind of died out because people won't shop at this area or even park their car in this area. So this has been, this has been a long-standing problem. So like, why now?
Yeah, I do believe that media is giving it a bit more attention, and maybe more people are going to start being aware of it because it's a minority group complaining about now. I wouldn't say homeless people are a minority group. I would just call it an issue. I don't
No,
know if
homeless people are definitely in a general, like
minority.
in the country. Yeah, they're a minority group.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're less than what, 10%?
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. I just didn't know how to identify it. If another minority group is now complaining about another minority group, but one minority group had a bit more standing, in the past.
That's true. That's so interesting. By the way, whenever you kept saying minority group, if we didn't have context on this, people are gonna be like, what races are they talking about? If one minority group was pitted against another minority group, which one would win? No, see, that's the thing. It's like, why is it that something only becomes important if it's affecting someone who's disenfranchised? Like, does the common person not matter? Right? The common
No,
average
it's
Joe,
not that they don't matter. It's definitely not that they don't matter.
they don't matter as much.
It's not newsworthy. I guess
Well, it's news.
it matters to the person on some personal level, obviously.
Mhm.
In terms of a national news level, where's obviously there's a big differentiator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I'm thinking more about now, like, when is something newsworthy? When is something like able to be talked to in the sense that, like, this is an important issue?
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, that's more in a general sense. Yeah, I think I already said it. I think because one minority group that maybe had a bit more social standing or had a bit more attention in the past can now not access the things that they used to be able to access because of another minority group, it's now an issue. So I think about it in terms of, oh, this one plaintiff on the side of the law basically had some standing, right? And now they're talking about another group that we want to give attention to. Obviously, like, homelessness is an issue in a lot more places than just California, obviously. But when does it deserve that attention?
Yeah, and why is there so much? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we think about important things based on, well, is the person getting hurt?
Why are we sad that the Queen died? I guess is the.
I'm not fucking sad that the Queen died. People are sad. I mean, people in
why did they get so much attention? Why does the death of this monarch get so much attention? More or less than the disabled people complaining about homelessness because they can't get around the sidewalk.
I think it's because nobody expected the Queen to die at such a random time. She's just been a staple of everyone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Queen didn't really. She wasn't like a big part of. Like, I wasn't like praying every day for the Queen to be well.
Keep the Queen safe.
Yeah, that wasn't that wasn't a thing. But I feel like it's the Queen. It's like the Eiffel Tower. If someone bombed the Eiffel Tower.
Like, remember when Notre Dame was literally on fire?
Oh yeah, when Notre Dame, yeah, definitely. It's like Quasimodo lives there. Like,
he's gonna be homeless, and then
and he's gonna be walking around.
He's gonna walk around, set up his new little hunchback type of tent. But then someone in France is not gonna be able to get around.
Or he's gonna be walking around like that right there. He's not homeless. He's too clean to be homeless. Like, this dude he got out of the shower at least 2 days ago.
So do you guys see how everything that we talk about is connected in one way or another? This is this is the train of thought. This is the train of thoughts that we present on these episodes. Yeah,
How's the dude's penis connected to the queen's death?
and
Homeless people.
and while homelessness is a bit easier to connect, but you know,
What's news? I
is
hope
your news of a homeless man, or is your news of a naked man walking around your office as newsworthy?
I mean, if he were in a wheelchair and he was clearly homeless,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, he would be mega disenfranchised. He would be mega disenfranchised, and people would rally for this homeless man, right? Dicks out for Fred, like the signs and everything, the whole shebang. They'd be walking around Disneyland going, dicks out for Fred, you know. And it was he was definitely a shower or a grower. Sorry, he was definitely a grower, not a shower.
Aren't we all?